Hey y'all, my name is Carly Darlin and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be doing a very exciting video. We're going to be making the cheapest way to make a cake taste amazing. So I love to bake and I've been doing very similar recipes all my life. But today we're only going to need 3 simple ingredients if you don't want to include water. We have a pre-made cake mix from Walmart for 88 cents. We have eggs. And we have oil. And of course, it always requires some water as well. So today, the reason that we're going to make it the easiest way possible is because I feel like that's what a lot of people need. They don't need a whole bunch of fancy ways to make it, like a stand mixer that you don't have. So today we're going to be using simply a mixing bowl, a whisk, which you don't even have to use, and a spatula. You don't have to use either. Instead of the whisk, you could use the fork. That is one of the cheapest ways to go here, since almost every household has a fork. And you don't need the whisk, because my dad's favorite way to do it is to just clean it out with his finger. So today we're going to be using this, because I don't want to do that today. So the first thing that we got to do is we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So let's get started with that. Alright, so the oven is preheating. Let's get started in making this cake mix. I got devil's food because that's my favorite kind. And there's Lila down here helping us out too. No. Up. Up. Good girl. You sniff it? That chocolate? You can't have chocolate, can you? So we're going to put all of this in first. Make sure Delilah doesn't get any of it. Alright, so what does it need next? We need to mix in 1 cup of water, a half a cup of oil, and 3 eggs. And the way that I always make sure that my cakes stay very moist is I always go until it's overflowing, just a little bit. Pour, make sure it gets up there nice, fill the cup, and then let it overflow just a bit. And then you have plenty of liquid in there. So you always want it to be nice and moist. Let's get these eggs in here. And I put everything in at once, and then I mix, so that way I don't overmix everything. Make sure you don't get any shells in there. Alright, we got our eggs in. And eggs are also pretty cheap, so this entire recipe right here, it's probably under $10. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do, we're going to get a cup of water, we're going to throw that in here, and do the same thing as I did with the oil. We're just going to make sure that it just overflows just a little bit. So what I do, I fill it up with water, make sure I don't spill. So it's pretty close to full, but not quite overflowing. You can get that in there, and then I go back just for another quick 1, 2. So it's just nice and covering the bottom there. Pour that in there, and then we mix. Come up. No, not the counter. Up. Yeah. Try not to spill like I just did. We're going to get that nice and combined. All the eggs are broken up, all the oil's combined, water's combined. Make sure you don't have any more powder left on the bottom there. So you always want to scrape around the edges with your whisk or with your fork, or in that case I might recommend a spoon. That way you can get nice in the crevices of the curve of the bowl. So this is starting to look good, getting those clumps out here. Remember, you do not want to overmix. So the box even says if you're going to hand mix it, only for about 2 minutes. And it's starting to look pretty good here, looking pretty creamy. Don't see too many chunks. The oven is preheating nicely over there. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. Don't see too many clumps in here. Everything's looking nice. All smooth. Alright. And now, if you don't want to clean the bowl with your finger, you'll still at least got the whisk that you can eat off of. So, but before we can clean the bowl and before we can lick off the whisk, we need to get our pan ready. So I just have a simple, I believe it is a 9-inch circle pan. I got a pack of 3 of these, I think at, it's not at, it was probably at Walmart, a 3-pack for maybe $8 or $10, but I've had this for quite a while. So it's probably depreciated in some value. We're just gonna get that nice and coated. If you do not have spray, you can also use butter, and then you can use a napkin to get that all spread out. Be nicely coated all the way around. A little extra never hurts. And there we just used a little bit of spray. Could be any spray that you guys normally use. It could be extra virgin olive oil. It could be a little bit more of your vegetable oil that you use in your cake. Or I've also seen people do butter and like put butter all the way around it, then put some cocoa powder in for a chocolate cake. But I prefer spray. It's just faster. It's easier. I do have some butter. I was going to use that in case this ran out because it's getting pretty low. But we had enough to cover it again. So the last thing we do before we can get this cake in the oven is just pour it in here. Just taking the cake mix, making sure that there's no powders left in the bottom of here. So let's get that poured in here. That's a satisfying sound. And we'll try to get all of this off the sides here. We're gonna have a nice tall cake when this is done. Alright. So it looks like we got as much out of here as we could with our whisk. Now we have ourselves a snack. Put that right there above the eggshells. And now we're going to use the whisk to get the rest of this out of here. So we're going to make sure that we scrape the edges real good. There is also, I was just using the pointy side there. You can also use the curved side. That tends to work a bit better on the bottom there. So let's get this all scraped out. Scraping the bottom there. Get all the sides. Want to have as much cake as possible. But the oven is now heated up. Like the light here is no longer lit, so the oven is good to go. The light right here. It is up to that 350 degree temperature right here, up to 350. And then we're gonna put this cake in the oven as directions on the box. So on the box, when it is, I believe, well, I guess I'm supposed to cook it in 2 different layers, but we're just gonna have a really nice tall cake here. So the 2 layers, it's going to say for 29 to 33 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in there for about 26 minutes, and then I'll keep checking in on it, since it is going to be a pretty tall cake. I'm going to put this on the top shelf here. Because it's such a tall cake, I want to be careful. And with that, we're going to put a nice cookie tray underneath it to catch anything if anything drips. That way you save yourself from having to clean the oven when you're done. And your cake is going to be in there for the next I'd say about 26 to 35 minutes. Then we'll keep checking back on it, and I'll let you know when it is done and how to tell when it is done. But since we added that little bit extra of oil and that little bit extra water, it's going to turn out to be nice and moist, and that's going to be the perfect cake to show off to your significant other, to your mom or dad if you're going to try to surprise them with the birthday cake. But we're going to let that cook. I'll let you know when it is done, and then we will get frosting it. So, let's go to then. Hey y'all, so we're back here. The timer just went off for 26 minutes. So we are going to check it with a butter knife because I do not have toothpicks, which is a way that is recommended. But I want to do this today because it does have a longer blade and it's not going to hurt you at all. So that's why I'm choosing to do that today for safety reasons and also for safety. I do have my handy dandy little pot holder here that I'm going to use to pull the cake out a little bit. I got this from Target. I have no idea how much it was, but it came as a pair. So I find them really handy, and it doesn't go all the way up your arm. So it is something to be very cautious about, especially when opening up the oven. You don't want to hit your arm on the top of the oven here. I have done that before, not fun. But as you can see here, the cake has a nice crust on it, and there's a nice crack there too. So let's get this pulled out here. Oh, and you can see how that's jiggling. That means that the center is not done yet. So I don't even have to test this right now to see that it's not done yet. But one way that you can tell that when it is done, you can push your finger on it and you can see that kind of bounce back a little bit. But because it's jiggling, we know it's not done yet. Also, if you are not comfortable in the oven, do not touch that with your finger. It's why we have the butter knife here for safety. But because we can see that it's jiggling a little bit there, You can even see it in this crack here that's kind of like trying to leak out there. That's got to bake for probably another 5 minutes, and we'll check back in about five, maybe 7 minutes, and we'll see how it looks then. That sound good, Delilah? That sound good? That sound good? Huh? Sound good? Good girl. That sounds good. All right. So we'll check back in about 5 to 7 minutes, and we'll see how it looks then. Hey y'all, so we are back again. It has been about 7 minutes. You're going to hear that go off here in a second. But I did want to recap before we get back in the oven what we have done so far. And there's a timer for the oven. So, off. But I just want to recap. All it took for us to make this mix, the box mix, eggs, water, oil, the 4 ingredients for this recipe. And then all we had to use was a bowl, a whisk, or a fork, really. So a bowl and a fork. That's really all you need for this recipe. So next, we're gonna get this cake out of the oven. Of course, there is a cake pan as well. And then we're gonna take it out of the pan and we're gonna let it cool. We want it to cool because if we don't let it cool, then the frosting is just gonna melt right off of it. It's gonna be like a glaze, but not a pretty one. So we're gonna check the oven. So let's get into the oven. All right, so the cake doesn't look too different, but you'll see here when I pull it out, you're not getting much jigglage. Jigglage, that's a word now. I can use weird words. Okay, so we're gonna dip this in, pull it back out. See, there is just a little bit of mix on here. So I think that we might give it, I'm gonna poke this again just to, oh yeah, see there's still a lot of mix on here. Then we're gonna give it maybe another 5 minutes. I don't see any burning, so I think that we're gonna be okay leaving it in here for another 5 minutes because we wanna make sure that all of this batter that is on this knife, you don't wanna have any of that. So that's why you really want a nice silver knife too, so you can see if there's anything that comes out on it. We're gonna push this back in. Maybe not the safest way, but I didn't touch the metal. We're gonna give this a close back up. And I think we're gonna set it for another probably 5 minutes. So let's get that set here on the oven. Do 5 more minutes. 5, is that right, Delilah? Give me 5? That's it? Give me 5 more minutes? 5 more minutes? Good girl, 5 more minutes. All right, we will check back with you in about 5 minutes. Hey y'all, so this is take 2 for this cake video. Actually, we had some technical errors last time, technical difficulties more so. My phone restarted itself and we lost all of our footage up to this point. So we're gonna make a second cake, and I mean that's all right with us when we get more cake to eat. So right now I've already like pre-baked the cake. It is ready to come out of the oven. I have already checked it again, as so. Knife back in there. Nothing came out except for some pieces, which it's not liquid, so that's what we're looking for. Yum. So let's get this thing out of here. Take this out of here. On top of the stove. Make sure you get the oven closed so your dog doesn't get her nose burnt. Now from here, we're just gonna take our knife and go around the edges. Make sure nothing's sticking. Okay. So we've done this. We want to take it out. Well, I want to take it out now just so it has more time to cool. What we're gonna do, try to loosen it up a little bit. Loosen it up a little bit. Try to get like the cake to lift off the bottom. I can see kind of come up there. Okay, I feel like it's coming up now. All right, so now we're gonna take our nice little cooling rack right here. Get our cooling rack. Gonna put it on the top. This will kind of flatten it out a little bit. That's okay. It's gonna make it smoother to frost. So in this case, my hands are too short to do it that way. We're gonna go this way. Just gonna hold this on top of it, and we're gonna flip. And from here, I'm gonna put it on top of a plate so it has a place to cool and it will catch all the crumbs that comes off. So now it's like nice and over the plate here. Not seeing any like separation. All we gotta do, since we just shook it up a bunch, just gotta take this off. And again, the same thing.
Look at that steam.
It is a fresh cake. And again, we got a little bit stuck to the bottom, but that's all right. We're gonna get that off nice and easy with a handy dandy spatula. We're just gonna be careful. We're gonna drag it all around the edges here, try to get that off in one piece. And no one's gonna know, because we're just gonna put this back on the bottom, and we're gonna flip it back over to serve it. What do I do? Flip it back on, center it. There.
Beautiful.
We're just gonna let that sit on there, let that cool. And then when we go to frost it, we'll flip it back over onto this plate. Since it's the perfect size for this cake, we're gonna flip it back over onto the cake. No one's gonna be able to tell that was ever loose. I'm such a little part, no one's gonna know, it's fine. Alright, so from here, we're gonna let that cool off. Make sure that there's no steam, make sure it's not gonna melt any frosting that we put on it. And then when we come back, we're gonna put some vanilla frosting on top of our chocolate cake. So let's go into frosting. Alright guys, it's time to frost the cake. As you can see, it is still upside down. It has cooled off very well to the touch. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do the exact same thing that we did before. We're going to take this plate out. We're going to put this on the bottom here. And as you'll see when I flip back over, the cake fits perfectly inside these like rims here. You can see there's a bit of a dip here. So it fits in there perfectly. What we're just going to put this on our hand, make a sandwich, and then flip. Flip the sandwich, and then we get a nice flat top cake. Just gonna move this off to the side. It's fine. All right, and then you see that there is a crust here, so that is your choice if you want to leave this crust around the corners or not. I am, just for the sake of the ease, and also since there's plenty of frosting, it'll make a nice smooth top anyway. So we're gonna get our frosting. I have vanilla frosting here. This is also the Great Value version, so it is very cheap. So, always make sure that there's a good seal on it. If there's not, return it. So there we go. Take this off. A nice, fresh thing of frosting. Looks kind of funny, but it's fresh. Alright, then I'm going to use a plain butter knife, because remember, this is going to be the cheapest, easiest way to make a cake. We only use the whisk. We're only going to use a knife to frost it. There is little serrations, but we can just use the back if we want a smooth cake too. A nice heap on here. And there is that crevice in here, so we're going to get that filled in too. We're going to start off with just doing a nice thin layer while Delilah tries to help out. Nice thin layer, fill in all the crevices. You just want to make the cake as smooth as possible with this first layer. Smooth as possible, and you want to lock in all those crumbs. Alright, so I'm just going to keep going around, keep filling it in. You can see, you kind of see the lines where the cooling rack was, but that's alright. We got plenty of frosting to get that all covered up here. Now we're going to get on the sides here. Make sure you put enough frosting on there to cover the entire side. A lot of frosting here. Maybe screw a little off there. Come back over this side. Fill it in. Just keep wiping your knife all the way around. Okay. It's turning out nice and smooth. And we're getting there, getting all the way around. Covering all sides. There we go, look at all that frosting. Get all the way down in there. You want to get all the cake covered up. You know, even getting the knife kind of below like the lip of well, I was gonna say the platter, but it's just a plate that we're using. Over here we have some sparkles. It is the sparkle kind of sprinkles, but we aren't gonna use those today. Those are just a lot more sugar, and we're already gonna have plenty of frosting on this cake. Alright, so we have the cake all the way coated around here, all the way around the edges. It's all coated, but you can see that you can still see quite a bit of chocolate. So we're just gonna keep going in, keep patching it up. Get all the way around the edges. We're gonna make sure that we have a nice thick edge of frosting here so that you can't see the edge of the cake. And if you still have some chocolate speckles around the top of the cake, it's fine. It's your first cake. If not, it's one of your beginning cakes, one of your beginning frostings. We're not trying to do anything perfect here. We're just trying to make it as simple as possible. It's really the thought that counts, isn't it? So we're just gonna keep working here. Get some more frosting on here. Look at all that frosting. All right, we're gonna keep going here. I'm gonna get a bit more on the sides too, because you can still see plenty of the chocolate here. Get a bit more on the sides. It's okay if you have some lines in there. It adds texture. It makes it look nice. It makes it look pretty cool. Try to get as much around the sides here as possible. Don't want to see any chocolate. Again, it's okay if you do. Like I said, you're just learning. So let's get plenty of frosting on here. Plenty of frosting. Plenty. Yes, Lila, I know. The cake's taking forever. So I'm getting some more on the edges here. I just scraped some off the edge. It's okay. So what I just did there, I'm just gonna fold it over with my knife. Just fold it over. So cakes I've seen a lot where you just go back and forth at the top. You can do that to smooth it out. Or you can also do like kind of a spiral thing too, where you like bring it in and you bring it all into the middle. That one I've seen a lot too. Bring it all into the middle. I thought that this corner over here looked a little bit thin, so I'm just adding a little bit more over here. That being said, how about we do use just a few of these sprinkles? We're just gonna make it look a bit more funfetti-ish. So since it should still be wet, I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of frosting. Just a little frosting, a little bit of sprinkles around here. All right, there we go, guys. So if you wanted to, you could do pink heart sprinkles. I know that they make those at Walmart. You could do like the pink, like almost like Tic Tac looking sprinkles. Those would be a good one to decorate like a Valentine's Day cake. Or if you were to get the red version of these sprinkles, I know that they have them. I used to use them for my Christmas decorating for like chocolate dipped pretzels. We would put these sprinkles on them. Get some green and red for Christmas. Or if you're doing like Christmas cupcakes, you could also do the Christmas cupcakes with these sprinkles, with even this cake mix as well. I believe that this does make 24 cupcakes on there, as you can see there. All the same ingredients on there. But this cake, like you can see, this plate is a little bit dirty, but that's all right. You can either wipe that off with a napkin, or you can just serve it to your family. But look at what I did. I did such a good job making my first cake. It was from a box, but it's easy. It's cheap.
It's still cake.
It tastes amazing, especially if you follow my directions by adding a little bit extra oil, a little bit of extra water, and hardly any dog hair. You're gonna get an amazing cake. Isn't this pretty, Lila? You're such a good girl, yeah? Here, have a little piece. There you go. You silly girl. Okay, down. 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 Alright, guys. And how about we go straight into the taste test? Alright, y'all. Let's get into this taste test. As you can see, we got all these lovely sprinkles on here. It's got a nice helping of frosting. Look at all these bubbles. When you have all these bubbles, you know that you did not overmix the eggs because you left it nice and aerated. If you were to overmix it, then you would get a really like creamed cake more so. We're very dense. But now we have a really pretty cake, and let's get into the taste test. And look how beautiful this is. And nice cut. And ready? Let's do a taste test here. If I can get it on the fork. Taste test? It's so moist. It's so moist. That is really good, guys. So I highly recommend, make sure that you use a little bit extra oil, a little bit extra water, and you get this nice melt in your mouth kind of cake. And now, so I might be a little bit biased on my own cake here. So we're gonna get an unbiased opinion from my roommate. So let's flip around to her. Okay, do like a little intro. Hi, I'm Joe.
I'm Joe. You've never seen me before. I'm the one behind the camera. I edit the videos.
She works at Target, guys.
Yeah, I forgot I still have my name tag on. But, yeah.
You got frosting. Mind your own business.
Still a little biased. I'm a chocoholic.
But you didn't cook the cake.
I did not. I just put a camera on you while you cooked the cake.
Okay, now your turn.
Nice cut here. Try to get more on the frosting side because I do like frosting.
Yes. So what do you think?
I definitely do.
Chocolate frosting. Comprehend.
I think it does. Hold on, I need to remember how to English. It does. I do notice how it kind of melts in the mouth. I can English. I word good. Delilah's getting irritated with my lack of knowledge of speaking. Let's get a solid cake here.
See that? She only had a little bit of frosting on that bite, guys. What do you think? A milk and cookies kind of cake?
What's that mean?
It means you want to dip it in milk.
Who would want to dip a cake in milk?
That's because it reminds you of cookies. Like, you know, when you dip a cookie in milk, it gets like that nice and chewy and like melts in your mouth kind of thing.
I mean, I suppose I don't want to dip a piece of cake in milk though.
I know what you're doing.
But I could go for another glass of milk. Sounds good right now. I wouldn't dip the cake in it, but yeah, milk sounds pretty good right now.
Okay, so 1 or 2 thumbs for the cake. 2 thumbs up. 1 thumb up. 2 thumbs up. Joe's decision. 2 thumbs up, guys. We got a 2 thumbs up on the cake.
I think it's
Delilah, what do you think? Oh, I got a tail wag. We're getting there.
I definitely think
Yeah.
with something like this, especially with something simple like this, I do think it does have that little bit. It is kind of tasted a little different when it's like freshly made or when it's warm versus if it's been like sitting in the fridge for a couple of days. You know.
Good cake.
Good cake.
Alright guys, so that was the end of that cake making video. The cut up cake looks a little bad. We're not good. We're not gonna show it.
But we wanna. It's right there.
Yeah, the cake. The knife kind of took some cake with it, but that cake was really good. That was a great first cooking 101 video, and I hope you guys keep coming back. I will keep adding videos to this playlist for easy cooking videos, like this amazing cake here. I do have a brownie that I want to cook up next. Like it is also an easy, cheap, and this is also 88 cents, just like the cake mix that we just made here. The cake mix is only 88 cents. This is only 88 cents. This also only takes oil, water, and eggs, just like cake. So I'm gonna
instructions too.
Yep. I'm gonna make this next time on Cooking 101. So I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. If you found this video at all interesting or helpful, please give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button, and you'll see me make brownies next time. Have a great night. Bye.